Do you ever feel like a plastic bag blowing in the wind? Life scraps, life scraps, life scraps. Do you ever feel scrap, 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 scrap? Life, 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 life. Life scraps, life scraps, life scraps. Tonight will make you shine because the light belongs to us. 'Cause baby, this is life scraps. Come on, listen to us. Make you go, as we shoot across the internet. 'Cause baby, this is Love Scraps, the podcast. 'Cause Mickey makes me welcome to this podcast. 'Cause baby, you're life scraps, 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 scraps. Wow. You know, I didn't even have to warm up my vocals then. Like, that was just purely improvised, if you can believe it. Like, wow. Just... I love me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I fucking love me. Welcome to the podcast, Scrappies. This is Mickey Byrne. This is episode 2 of the Life Scraps, which is 2 more dates. 2 more dates than I've been on with a man in the last 2 years. Well, is it? Well, pretty close. Pretty close. We can claim it. So, yeah, single, ready to mingle, ready to pringle. If any of you are out there and also single and like Pringles, please leave me your number. Slide into my DMs and then slide into my other places. Welcome back to the podcast. That was, improvised. Of course, it was pulled from Katy Perry, who, fuck that bitch. She's like, she went to space for 11 minutes, which was about as long as she was culturally relevant. Fuck her. And yeah, about as long as her lesbian face, after she kissed a girl. That joke was really offensive to the lesbian community. And hopefully I do have some lesbian listeners, since I love you, lesbians. When she went into space, though, she said, she was quoted as saying she was going to put the ass in astronaut. Her intention was to add a little bit of glamour to space travel. And I just think, like, fuck team. Of everyone we could have sent to space, we send this bitch and, like, Oprah's best friend. Oprah was like, I'm just so proud of her. I'm like, what did she fucking do? She sat in a little capsule and watched movies and got brought food. Like, I've done that to Australia for 24 hours. Like, that's like, I don't even know how many times up and back to space that is, but it's a lot more than 11 fucking minutes. And also, like, even then, not that impressive. People chuck sickies to do that at home, So, Oprah, lift your game. But yeah, I think it's hilarious that we sent Katy Perry. Like, what is she going to do in space? Like, what is she going to offer besides putting the ass in astronaut if they do meet any aliens? Like, what, sing hot and cold? Katy, it's all fucking cold. It's space. There is no hots. She just like, she is an icon though, she's really given us a lot of language for complex emotions and, maybe the Martians will appreciate that. Like, I feel so seen, I was feeling like a plastic bag. I tell you who's making me feel like a plastic bag is men. Single use and balls deep. And that was actually a really fucking clever joke, but only if you know a little bit about environmentalism, which is that all men's testicles are now full of microplastics. Like we need anything to make men stupider, but we're here. This is going to be a little bit of a fuck men episode. Just FYI, I'm in a little bit of an angry mood with men at the minute. I just feel like all my problems this week could have been resolved. Like, it all just comes down to one singular common factor, and it all just could have been resolved if men just fucking listened, you know? Like, everything that happened to me this week, that just put me in a bad mood. But, you know, like, sometimes you do just wake up a little bit in a little bit of a bad mood. And for me, like, I haven't been able to sleep 8 hours because, like, my neighbors are so noisy. One neighbor above me gets up at like 8 a.m. But other neighbors 2 levels above me who I can still hear, they go to bed at 2 a.m. And so I feel like I haven't slept 8 hours since I was in London. And of course, like, I don't know what materials they use in Portugal, but it's like this building is made out of tissue paper. It's like the construction equivalent of like paper straws. It's like my neighbors is like literally just on the other side of a glory hole. That's about as much soundproofing there is in this apartment. And yeah, I've just been waking up really fucking cranky. So we'll see how funny this episode is. But we're here. Let's see where we go, hey? One more thing about Katy Perry, actually, which I think is hilarious, which I just want to share, which is that, like, I actually Googled, I had to type into Google, like, did Katy Perry really say I put the ass in astronaut? Because I'd heard it secondhand from someone. Turns out she did. And then the very next following day, I started getting ads to contribute for my abstract submission to the Polish Space Journal, which I just think is fucking hilarious. Because, like, you know, the first time I've ever expressed interest in space is because of Katy Perry. And, like, I'm not even interested in space. I'm interested in the glamour, space glamour, thanks to Katy Perry. And, like, I think the only other relation with Poland I have is, like, one Polish friend who I send a lot of memes to. And then the Polish Space Journal starts sending me targeted ads. And I'll just read you their bio. The Polish Space Journal is a Polish scientific journal devoted to promote Polish scientific thought on impact of outer space exploration on society, and various disciplines such as law, philosophy, security, economy, and other similar disciplines. And, you know, I just love that. Like, of course I have many thoughts for them. Like, I don't know, what am I going to send in on fucking, like, borscht space recipe or something? But I tell you, I would love to see a gay spaceship go into space, because I think it would be like all the glamour, but with Prosecco. And, you know, there would, of course, have to be at least one hardworking, useful lesbian to help drive the ship. But also, like, a rocket ship means something very different to us in the gay community. And, like, I'm not even going to explain it here. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then what are you doing? Let's just say that the rocket ship would be called Alpha, which is ironic because the only alpha on board would be the lesbian, of course. But also, like, they were only in space for 11 minutes. And 11 minutes isn't enough time for anything gay to happen. Like, I don't know, you can't get ready for anything in 11 minutes. You can't play drag bingo in 11 minutes. Like, 11 minutes is about the maximum length of time gays will go camping for. Unless there's a chance, of course, of having sex in the woods. And then, like, they'll spend 3 days and 7 hours cruising there without any food or water, just, like, living on, like, liquid yogurts. And yeah, I don't know. If that's just not the gay version of Eat, Pray, Love, I don't know what is. Just, like, spaceships, alpha, brunch, and yeah, liquid yogurt and borscht. I mean, if only we were eating and praying more, though, TBH. Or at least eating, you know. Instead, we're all wasting away because we're all bottoms, and so we're barely surviving on liquid yogurt and protein shakes. Anyway, I'm going to try and keep very still this episode because I felt like the audio actually got worse the last episode. And I think it's just because I have very, like, I mean, very flamboyant hands, but I call them my storytelling hands. I get very expressive. And also, I think that this time I'm recording it straight into GarageBand. Look, I know nothing about technology, so if you have any tips, send them my way, please, Lois. But this time I'm recording it straight into GarageBand. And hopefully that works better because I realized in the last episode, like it cut out the high notes. And, I really hope it recorded it this time because I really want you to have that experience of me really hitting those high notes like Mariah. You're very welcome. What do I want to talk about with you all today? What do I want to really dive into? Oh, I know. So obviously last week we were talking about the top crisis and this great top crisis that we're all living through. And I was thinking about it afterwards and it made me remember this poem that I once wrote and that I actually submitted to a journal for publication. And I have no idea why it didn't get published. Their loss. And so I want to share it with you all here now because I think it is just a really deep, beautiful, expressive poem that really just captures the whole voice of a generation. It's called An Ode to Femme Tops. Okay, here we go. An Ode to Femme Tops. Dear Femme Tops, how much I love thee. You make me happy, so very happy. How I love thee, yes. Stick it in me, dear, please. Yes, yes, yes! Femme Tops, you are the only ones for me. I'm not sure why I read it in a British accent, but I think it's because I'm drinking tea while we do this. I am officially, people, in my tea era. I've been drinking way too much coffee, so I'm going to be trying to drink a little more tea. I've got a little limau and gingembre here. Let me just have a quick sip. Ooh, that is good. It's like gingery water. And I'm new to the tea drinking community, so if you have any recommendations, please send them my way. If you are also a member of the tea drinking community and you would like to meet up, share some tea, please let me know. Tea of all kinds is welcome here. We can do some tea over some tea. I think I have the brewing down. You just put hot water in with the tea bag. But if you have any other suggestions, thoughts, comments, I'm all ears. Do you know also, does anyone else know what a pom is? Or maybe that's a very Australian thing? Because of course, Brits pay out on Australians all the time because we're convicts and shit and just really raggedy. But, we also pay out on Brits. Because I think, the thing about Brits, right? I think they think the rest of the world thinks they're these polite, tea drinking, very civilized people. But really the rest of the world knows them as stag doos, head in the gutter, vomiting 2 liters of vodka Red Bull. But anyway, in Australia we call them POMs, which is prisoners of Her Majesty or prisoners of their Majesty, His Majesty, whoever the Majesty is now. I'm not too sure, because why the fuck would you be a royalist, seriously, in 2025? If I have any royalists in the audience, fuck off, you're not welcome here. Honestly, what the fuck is wrong with you? Put the fucking magazine down, babes. Put the fucking magazine down, Sandra, and tax those motherfuckers. Anyway, sorry, I told you this would be an angry episode. But anyway, that's just a little bit of Australian slang in case you were interested. Oh, God. Just got really revved up about the Royals just then. Just fucking hate them. Fucking hate them. I tell you who I'm also really hating this week is fucking men. Honestly. Women, okay, this is a message for the pod. Pod people, women, stop booking appointments for your fucking husbands. Men, book your own medical appointments. I've had so many clients this week trying to book appointments for their husbands. Women, you're doing your men no favors by booking their appointments. They're going to just have to face the fact and cut themselves off from the placenta eventually, like the rest of us. And yes, men, maybe people will think you're a little bit gay because you book your own doctor's appointments. But that's fine. Be fucking gay. Book your own appointments. Be gay and do crime. Be gay and do crime with perfect cholesterol. Let's just all look at the Louvre heist for inspiration. They were so quickly in and out. They could have still made their 10 o'clock and be home in time to have their omega-3s for their heart health. Men, be like the Louvre men. Be more European. Be more French. I mean, actually, who are we kidding? They're French. I mean, unless they could smoke it or it's in some kind of like soft, buttery, flaky pastry, they're definitely not having omega-3s for breakfast. But at least they were efficient. At least these men were fucking efficient. I mean, on second thoughts, they were probably women. Yeah, probably definitely women. Anyway, that's the kind of men we need. More women as men. So men, just book your own appointments for fuck's sake. And also, stop doing fucking bicep curls on the only lifting platform at the gym. You are absolutely ridiculous. And first of all, what the fuck? What the fuck is a bicep curl? Like, why do you need to be that fucking strong in elbow fucking flexion? What are you gonna do with elbow flexion? Fucking nothing. You know how you actually tell if someone's strong? You look at their legs. You look at their legs and their butt. That's how you tell if that person is actually strong. If you look like an upside down triangle, you are weak. You are weak of body and you are also weak of mind and soul and spirit. You are a pansy. So stop doing your fucking bicep curls. And men, I know that this all sounds like a double bind. It's all new information and it's a double bind because on one hand, you need to be a man and yet at the same time, we all fucking hate you for that. Well, welcome to the motherfucking party. It's the same bind that everyone else has had to live under for hundreds of years, mostly created by men. And also gym owners, FYI, stop giving us bicep curl machines at the gym. We don't need machines to do bicep curls. You can do them with free weights. You can do them with free weights. You don't need to be on the lifting platform. Just go stand in the corner, do your lame ass bicep curls. You also, FYI, don't need to do bicep curls for 45 minutes. How about you do a squat? How about you do a deadlift? How about you do anything else? And I mean, good luck ever reaching behind you to wash your back ever again. What we do need at the gym are more lifting platforms. So yeah, fuck men, but also please date me. I'm a strong, independent woman who fuck men, but also please fuck me too. And also, what's with straight Portuguese men shaving their legs? They don't look gay enough to be a cyclist. So I don't think that's it. And I mean, I'm not criticizing this. I'm recalibrating because it's all the straight men are now walking around with Brazilian waxes and all the gays are hairy again. And I'm just having to recalibrate. It's just new information for my brain. I'm trying to catch myself up, you know? Oh, anyway. What do I want to talk about with you all today? What do I really want to talk about? Well, I mean, while we're on the topic of the pod, so I wrote this article this week. It was all about Bob the Cog. It was for my other newsletter. Please read, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I have this other newsletter called Field Anatomies, where we talk about health stuff and blah, 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 blah. It's a little less unhinged than this one, a little more put together. And this week I wrote an article and sent it around to my subscribers all about Bob the Cog, which is my fun way of talking about self-objectification. And in particular, I want to do a whole series about this and about the ways that we self-objectify and how that's kind of tied in as one thing that I see a lot with burnout is this kind of burnout as a state of chronic over-objectification. And of course the world does that to us, right? Misogyny is objectifying, racism is objectifying, yada, 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 yada. And yet we also internalize and then we do it to ourselves, particularly when we live in a world where we are very much, can be anything we set our mind to, quote unquote, and we're kind of grown up in this is the cultural belief or the cultural narrative, then we become our own bosses that we're answering to, and sometimes we are our own worst bosses. And anyway, so I wrote this piece, it's called Bob the Cog, because, it's about we no longer think of ourselves as humans, we think of ourselves as machines. Men think that they're a Porsche or a Ferrari or something, but, most of the time they're not. They're just a Nissan fucking Micra or a unicycle with a flat tire. And then we have women who are those cars that can also become boats that have surfboards on the top, and there's like carrying a trailer full of everyone's in the families, camping gear and school gear and all the food for the whole family and all the baggage, including the emotional baggage for the whole family. And like they're like a four-wheel drive thing with one of those like weird car snorkels, and then they look in the mirror and they think that they're just like this armless Jabba the Hutt. And so we all do it, right? Like we all self-objectify, and yet we can forget that we're human and that we're not machines. And FYI, obviously this kind of language around body as machine has been useful to an extent. Like it's taught us a lot, but it hasn't always been the way, Like, I mean, if you look at medical literature now and you look at like the language that's used to describe the body, there's two main kind of classes of metaphor. One is body as machine. We just talk about circuitry and fuel and wiring and yada, yada, yada. And the second is the body as a site of war, martial metaphors. And we see this a lot in kind of immunity, like resistance, fighting, T cells fighting, as though it's like, I don't know, like little Katy Perry's fighting off the, the invading lizard people or something, even though we're the ones full of microplastics. Anyway, and this wasn't always the way. And, a lot of this gets blamed, Descartes gets blamed for a lot of this because he was kind of the one who separated mind and body, what we call this Cartesian split. But at the time, actually, that was very heretical. And, I've just been reading this book called Empire of Normality by Robert Chapman, and it's all about neurodiversity and capitalism and where these two intersect. And he taught me this, and I think it's really interesting, and I think it's a good reminder that, first of all, our ancestors were really smart, and they were like, bro, the body's not a fucking machine. It's not just a bicep curling machine. Like, we're part of nature. We have cycles. We're part of this whole seasons and everything else. We belong in a context. And then, of course, it was through some weird combination or very particular combination of industrialization and medical technological advancement. And with that, like, the theme of the time, health-wise, being infectious disease, which kind of lent itself to this very reductionistic approach, which no longer really makes sense when most of our diseases now in the Western and then global North are related to lifestyle diseases. We think we're a Ferrari and yet we're all running on empty, or like 3 Big Macs a day and we all have diabetes. And I lost my train of thought. I got so off track there with the diabetes. Anyway, and yeah, so I've been reading this book. I just think our ancestors have a lot of wisdom, and indigenous traditions have a lot of wisdom. And yeah, I've been reading this book. It's been really interesting. There was another thought that was really interesting to me, which was kind of like, okay, neurodivergence has always existed, of course. And they were also just always part of a community. Yes, maybe they were a little bit outcast, but they were always still part of the fabric of community. And, the development of discrimination and isolation happened in England after neurodivergence was brought into legal debate around private property. Because basically it was like people saying, oh, no, my cousin can't inherit the manor house. He's a little bit special. It needs to come to me as what do you call like a neuronormative person? I mean, obviously they didn't say that. But this was basically it. Like, it was linked to private property, which I think is really, really fucking interesting, that, ideas of neurodivergence and, or rather discrimination and prejudice against neurodivergence is inherently linked to private property. That's fucking wild. And also, it's funny to think about because, like, if you think back then, the way that they measured if someone was a little bit neuroatypical was like by looking at their head size and like the features of their head, which you've probably seen those little statues of their heads, and it's like covered in all the text and everything's like written over the skull. Phrenology, that's what it's called. And they basically used to, measure your head size and be like, oh, okay, you're smart or you're not smart, blah, 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 blah. And, that's just kind of funny for, like, to think about that, like, they would have just been like, no way, Cousin Elizabeth may not inherit the manor house because she sings while she sweeps and she doesn't have a chin. It's like, no, babe, she's not retarded. She's just Snow White. And FYI, in the context of that joke, retarded isn't offensive because another thing is language changes, yes? And so retard and retardation was actually part of medical language once upon a time. And then it became offensive in contemporary culture. But language is doing this all the time. It's constantly evolving and constantly changing. And, I don't think that this will ever stop. But I think it also sometimes... we just need to be mindful of this. Is because, like, even when you listen to a joke 100 years ago, if you take it in context of today, it may not have aged particularly well because it may not mean the same thing. Like sometimes jokes have a shelf life of 5 minutes. I've also been thinking about this as I read this book because there's a lot of medical terminology like this, which was very neutral. Like retard was a neutral term. And yeah, a lot of these medicalized words, which then became seen as a bad thing, and now we're constantly updating it all the fucking time. And I think that this also has its limitations. And this is how we got into this like crazy spiral around identity politics and shit. And now it's all about like semiotics. But like at the end of the day, like, can we just go one step beyond that and actually just like help people, Like, I mean, fuck, like, pronouns, for sure. Anyone can have any pronoun they want. Who fucking cares? It's all just language. What you're signifying to that person when you use the correct pronoun is that they are a human. That they get to exist as the subject of their own lives, not as the object in your story. That you're making room for them in all their fullness. And you can do all that without even using a motherfucking pronoun. And, I just think, like, of course, trans people deserve the healthcare. They deserve equal rights. To a degree, some of this has to be spoken about so that we get over this stupid bullshit discrimination. And at the same time, just let trans people be, for fuck's sake, Just give them access to the healthcare that they need. And let's just all move on to something urgent like climate change, not bathrooms. Over and over and over again. Just make gender fucking neutral bathrooms and let's just leave it behind us. Let's move on. Like, no one's going to be thinking about being misgendered as we're all running from the burning building because the whole house is on fucking fire, Anyway, little rants there. But yeah, anyway, so, no, Sandra, you may not have the house. She's not retarded. That's just Snow White. And actually, come to think of it, Katy Perry looks a bit like Snow White. So maybe we should bring that system back because, she relates to plastic bags. Like, she knows what it is to feel like a plastic bag. So clearly she's one of the alien people, conspiracy theorists are fucking wild, right? Because, like, it's just like... It's just like, how have you got there? Like the evil people are the obvious evil people. They're the ones who are saying they're doing the evil things. It's not like the invisible snake people. It's the ones who are here saying they're doing the evil things. It's not like the aliens Katy Perry's going to meet in space. It's Katy fucking Perry. So yeah, she relates to plastic bags and she looks a bit like Snow White. So clearly she's one of the aliens. So yeah, put that in your conspiracy pipe and smoke it. Or I don't know, like, do conspiracy theorists still smoke? It feels like they don't smoke anymore. Put that in your essential oils in your red light sauna, Joe Rogan. Oh God. Also, while we're talking about the lizard people, it's not like all the lizard people are evil. Like, look at Bob Ross, He's so clearly not from here. He was definitely birthed by a snake and pulled from a river. Like, he's a good one. He's a good lizard person. Elon Musk, He is also a lizard person. He just gets weirder and weirder looking. I mean, both were aliens, right? But one gave us nice pictures and ASMR, and the other gave us space glamour. And anyway, I think I'm thinking now about just this story a few years ago of this crocodile. Of course, this was in motherfucking Australia, but this crocodile, this family, I think it was like three crocodiles who were born and growing up in a fountain in the middle of one of the cities. Probably somewhere in Queensland, because that's how most of them are born up there anyway. But yeah, just that, like, they just found this family of crocodiles living in the fountain. Like, how fucking scary is that? Because, like, the other thing about fountains in Australia is that, which I don't see as much, I definitely don't see it here in Portugal. Maybe it does exist with, like, the Trevi fountain and stuff. But in fountains in Australia, people throw money in them. It's like good luck. They call them wishing wells. And, I mean, like, nothing quite speaks of privilege like throwing money away. But yeah, that's Australia. Like, you make a wish and then you throw your money into the wishing well. And yeah, I just think like nothing screams cost of living like the fact that the Queenslanders are de-evolving to crocodiles again to help afford their lifestyles. I mean, you know, the Southern Cross tattoos won't pay for themselves. But finally, a Real Housewives I can get behind. Anyway, how are the fountains? You know, this is a funny story. But my friend once climbed into a fountain. We were in Tasmania, and we were actually at Port Arthur for a school trip. And my friend climbed into a fountain and took all the money. And it was so funny. Like, we were all just watching him going, "What, bro, what are you doing?" And he, like, rolled up his jeans and then walked around picking up, like, all the 5-cent coins. And look, I think that's practical. Like, that's how you get ahead in this world. That's how you get ahead with this cost of living, is you just have to be practical like that, like the crocodiles. Just, you know, just become amphibious again like the crocodiles. And yeah, look, I'm not sure if everyone's dreams came true that day, but you know, he got his ice cream. And it did do something to his brain because he now works in underwater oil mining. It's like, underwater is where the riches are. This is my thing now. Underwater and the riches. Anyway, what else can I tell you about this book? I don't know. I'm only halfway through. It's a little dry, so I'm not loving it. I'm having to read it in small doses, but it is interesting. I always think anything that looks at the intersection of, you know, capitalism and society and healthcare is really interesting, because we forget that medicine is also very much a social and material construct and political construct as well. And anyway, yeah, back to this article I wrote about Bob the Cogs and, you know, Susan thinking she's Robo Susan, and basically how this is leading to, or contributing to, a lot of people leading to burnout, because we do a lot of things based on what we think we should do rather than who we actually are, and we override our own self-knowing about ourselves to be some other version of ourselves. It's really fucking weird. And yeah, I think also just like reading this book, it's interesting because, you know, ideas of normativity once at a time seemed to be really democratizing, particularly like after the French Revolution, when they began introducing ideas of like average, the idea of average as it related to humans in terms of like average blood pressure, average heart rate, average weight. BMI, FYI, has been around for like 150 years, nearly 200 years. And obviously it needs a fucking upgrade because, you know, we're not even eating the same food. They ate food. We don't eat food anymore. We eat like mech food. It's a different thing. It's a different breed. It doesn't even taste like food anymore. And, you know, like, just, I also have clients who are strength athletes who get classified as morbidly obese, and yet, you know, they ain't doing fucking bicep curls. They're doing like real fucking lifts. And also, like, I also have other clients who are just slightly bigger, and they also get classified as obese or clinically obese, and all the doctor can tell them is lose weight. And I'm like, it's like, why? You actually have perfect bloods. Everything is perfect when they look at like blood work and stuff. You're just a little bit bigger because BMI was built on a different people. It was built on people like in Scotland. My understanding is from Scotland, like in 1850. Like, no, of course they're gonna have a different fucking BMI now. Like, anyway. But I do think that's interesting, like, ideas of normativity at first were celebrated, and even by the left, as they were seen as democratic, because, you know, it didn't matter what class you were from, if you were part of the bourgeoisie, or if you were part of the working class. And then, of course, it all just got co-opted into capitalism, as a way of ranking people, and as a way of defining who is quote-unquote good or bad. And also the mean went from being seen as the ideal to being seen as quote-unquote average, which is no one wants to be average anymore. Everyone wants to excel. And yeah, I just think, you know, like, we're coming to the end of reason, you know. On one hand, it's just like reason was back then seen as like the ultimate triumph, which was then of course cast as white and male and able-bodied and fit. And I just feel like we're honestly at the end of reason when it comes to healthcare, because like we know how to fix a shoulder, we don't know how to help a person with a shoulder problem is the thing. And, you know, like, we understand so much about the mechanical issues of, like, a shoulder issue. And yet, you can have a shoulder surgery and you can still have pain and function may still not improve, because humans are a little more mysterious than that and a little more contextual than that. And I just think we need other metaphors beside the machine and the wall metaphor. You know, like, I often tell my clients, you know, like, a body is an ecosystem. A body is porous. A body is a good friend. It's like a best friend giving us really important information. It's like a dance partner. There are so many other metaphors that we can be using, and which I think we should need to reintegrate. Anyway, yana. All I'm saying is just like, I feel like we're at the end of reason, you know. It's just like marketing and social media knows now how to, like, we get sold to our emotions, you know, we don't get sold to our rational minds. And like, we can all rationalize that the world is coming to an end and that like the world is on fire and we need to do something different. And yet we cannot, for whatever reason, detach ourselves from our emotional needs that are leading us to extinction. And, you know, girls, as I say all the time, never trust a man thinking with their dick. Which is men, unfortunately, 90% of the time, me included. And, like, yeah, fuck men. But still date me. But fuck men. I wonder why I'm single. Anyway. In other news this week, Australia banned social media for people under 16. And, like, in case you're not keeping up with Australian news, and, you know, like, why would you? But this week, Australia announced that they're banning social media for anyone under the age of 16, which includes like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, I don't know how I feel about this. I think on one hand, okay, maybe it makes sense. But at the same hand, like, how is this really going to work? It just feels very, very like Australian, like blanket law to affect everyone. I mean, like, how is this actually going to work, you know? Like, what, we're going to have to show our IDs now to use, like when you, fun fact, which I just learned when I was in the UK, is like, you need to show age verification to watch porn in the UK. Like, is this what's going to happen in Australia? Like, you need to show some kind of like face identification or show identity, like your physical identity card, or do like a credit card check. And like, why? It just means we're going to be giving like Google and Facebook and shit more of our data for free. And like, do I want them to have my credit card detail? I mean, they probably already have it, so like, who fucking cares, maybe. But like, I don't know, I just feel like there were so many other ways we could regulate this better, you know, like just regulate the advertising and what the algorithms are suggesting. It's like, you know, if I want to try and watch TV in a different country, I can't do that. Like, the internet's smart enough to figure out I'm in a different VPN. I have a different VPN, and therefore not let me view things. Like, I'm sure that they could do this with advertising and with recommendations from the algorithm in other countries. Like, fuck's sake. And also, I think my other thing is, like, I'm not sure if it's the kids who should be banned, but it's the fucking dumb boomers. Like, the ones who made this stupid fucking law. I just, like... This is a funny story, actually. I know someone, I'm not going to mention names, Chris, but someone that I know who, he needed to take, like, an ID photo for, like, you know, just for, like, something, and he had to take a photo of his ID. But he took a photo on a glass table, and he took it naked. And what he didn't realize was that in the reflection of the glass table was, like, a full frontal of his dick and balls. And, you know, like, he was submitting this photo to, like, open bank accounts, apply for jobs with his resume. And, you know, like, I just think that, like... You know, like, his dick pic is all over the internet, basically. Like, it's all over LinkedIn somewhere. It's all over, like, company resumes somewhere and, like, bank account things, places. And I just think, like, how many more dick pics can the internet take? You know, the internet is already so full of dicks. It's the internet's already fucking pregnant, you know? Like, how many more dick pics are going to slip into the clouds? It's just like a BBC up there, like a big Bukkake cloud, really, at this point. I mean, I get now why priests are so obsessed with heaven. But yeah, really, I think, like, it's probably not the kids, it's the fucking boomers. But also, like, maybe we just need to have an idiot quiz. Like, that should be the restriction, you know? At the minute, it's like, just select all the bicycles. And even for me as a smart person, that's hard because half the photos have half a fucking handlebar in them. Like it's just never that straight, like, cut and dry. And, like, there should just be an idiot quiz. I mean, firstly, if you're still using Facebook, you're probably part of the problem. No one's used Facebook for, like, 8 years. It's like the new Kelly texting on Excel. It should just be like, I don't know, what could it be? It would just be like, it'll just have one question and, like, a text box. It'd be like, do you believe in a flat earth? Yes or no? And if you click yes, you're just not allowed on. Or it'd be like, what conspiracy theories do you believe? And yeah, if they wrote about the snake people, then they, you know, wouldn't be allowed on unless they're talking about Bob Ross, clearly a snake person. And anyway, I just think this is so Australia. It's so fucking stupid. And it's like, it's just such a blanket law that's going to affect everyone, but they're not actually investing to make people not stupid. And just, like, we have so many problems in this country, like social media and racism and, like, group walkers. And that was not a racist joke, FYI. Like, group walkers, you just fucking suck because you walk in groups. Like, you don't own the sidewalk. Form an orderly 2x2 line so that quick walkers can get by. And also, why are you walking with weights in your hands? I don't know. I think it's all, like, some Kath and Kim inspired Kelspiracy, that one. But yeah, what do I care? I don't live there anymore. I feel like this year for Christmas, instead of paying taxes, I'm just going to get Australia a gift card for therapy for, like, €50. And, you know, like, if everyone did that, I think that, yeah, the country would just be so much better. And, you know, while we're talking about Australian education, I have been living in Portugal for 3.5 years. And finally, I can, like, you know, read and write Portuguese. I can have basic conversations with my vizinha. I can talk with the little old ladies on the street. I can do most things to get by, unless it's closing a Portuguese bank account, which is like entering a haunted house blindfolded, where every second step is like an exploding mine, and it's just like a whole fucking snakes and ladders, crazy motherfucking upside down Cirque du Soleil level shit. But I can get by with most things now. But it's taken a really long time. And I'm so jealous of people who can speak more than one language. Because like in Australia, languages we do a year of Indonesian, and then we do a year of Italian, and then we do a year of Japanese, and then we do a year of French. So like I came out of school and I can say hello in Indonesian. I can count to 10 in Japanese. I can't even count to 10. I can only sing to 10 in Japanese because it has to be ichi, ni, san, yongo, yoku, nana, hachi, kujo. And then I can sing happy birthday in Italian. And like, that's all I have. And, you know, according to my French teacher, I will never speak French properly. So I pretty much know no French. But you know, that's how you know you're integrating with French people. Yeah. So I just think, you know, fuck you, Australia. Fuck man, fuck you, Australia. We love you, femme tops. That's kind of the conclusion for today. What else do I want to talk to you about? I don't know. I just think like, yeah, I've just been really tired this week, and I keep getting on the wrong train. And I think it's because I'm tired, and also because when I check Google Maps, I just see the train line. And so it will say it's Sintra line, and then I'll get on the direction towards Sintra, but I actually need to go to Setahuyosh in the opposite direction. But it just says Sintra when I Google it. And I've done it like 3 times this week, and it happened the other day, and I went all the way across the bridge. But it turned out really nice because I ended up having dosai for lunch, and I fucking love dosai. What's an ethical way to make dosai part of my personality as a white person? Is there one? Let me know. And I realized when I was at lunch this day that I have like a bit of a lazy eye, which I already knew. I think a lot of people do. But then I also had, my other eye was tight. My other eyeball felt tight. And I realized I had one lazy eye and one tight eye. And that was just like, it felt so profound. And I just think like, yeah, you know, there's something about me that is straight because I have a married couple on my face, a straight married couple. And yeah, that was just like such a horrible joke. But basically I just wanted to tell you that I really loved my dosai the other day. And I also really love lassi as well. I love lassi. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought like, I just remember being in the restaurant being like, oh, I'm loving this dosai. I can't wait to tell the Scrappies about it. It was so good. So here we are. And yeah, I think that's a wrap for today, babes. I don't know if I have anything else for you all. I'm gonna go and massage my tight eyeball, try and get my lazy eye back to work, and finish this hot cup of tea. And then, yeah, look for me some femme tops for this beautiful, balmy afternoon here in Lisbon. And yeah, watch out for those lizard people. They're not all bad. Some of them are good. Watch out for Katy fucking Perry. Irrelevant. We can stop saying her name now. And don't be a cog. And I'll see you next week. Bye.